Chapter 21. Draped across a branch, high up on the black squirrel's tree, Rue looked down at the lianas that canopied the green and pinks and reds of the garden. The view reminded Rue of the lucite domes of flowers she used to place around the crawl space under the trailer. How funny to see things from above, when she had spent so much of her life burrowing into things, watching people's feet pass by. Down below she could see Philip standing with his back pressed against the tall, sheer rock, dressed only in shorts and no shirt. He was still thin, but his shoulders were no longer hunched and his chest had filled out in the past few weeks. He was smiling and his eyes were squeezed shut as he called out, "Not yet!" She turned away and looked through the garden's domed glass roof. The St. Lawrence stretched in all directions, blue and burnished. Rue traced the white scars on the surface, one to a wooden boat, another a frantic ringlet to a jet ski. And then she saw what she was looking for, an angular gray-blue silhouette of a bird slicing through the sky, then circling back. She climbed down the tree using the thick, twisting lianas as steps. These days she scaled the tallest garden trees nimbly and with no fear. She passed a black squirrel on her way down just as he was climbing up. They glanced at each other quickly, amiable greeting of two wild creatures with many things to do, then continued on their way. There was a sudden loud hiss, and Philip yelled out, "It's working!" Rue looked down to see a curtain of water tumbling over the top of the sheer rock, splashing down into the once empty pool and coursing through the stream bed, filling it. Philip was completely concealed behind the waterfall except for his arms, which poked through the falls and waved at Rue. She could hear him laughing and laughing, the way he had laughed when he slid down the chute. In a moment she saw her uncle climb up into the garden from the trap door, smiling at the rush of water and at his son behind the waterfall, and finally at Rue, who jumped down from the tree. "Going in, Rue?" He nodded toward the waterfall. She smiled and shook her head. Later. Outside, the day was clear and bright. She sat on the rocky ledge above the little cave where she had once hidden, and she watched the canoe approach the island. The river was unnaturally calm. Its surface was laid out like a fresh sheet, snapped smooth, and the canoe slid across it effortlessly. The sun caught on her silver ring and made it gleam white. Rue traced her finger over the two hearts. Had a friend of the girl from long ago given it to her as a gift, the two hearts being each of them fused together forever? On an impulse, Rue hopped off the ledge and scrambled into the cave. It had been so long since she'd been inside it. The moment she remembered the comfort of crouching in tiny places and looking at the world, watching it without being a part of it. But it wasn't long before her legs felt cramped and she began to crave the movement of the air outside. With her pointer finger, she dug a hole in the soil. Then she removed the ring from her finger, dropped it in the hole, and covered it over with earth before scrambling back outside. "Where are you off to?" Violet called, half her body leaning out the first floor window. "To visit the tern chicks," Rue called back. "Good day for it," Violet said. "I've hardly ever seen the river this quiet. The donkey grannies must have left Jack a very generous offering this morning." The little canoe pulled up to the island. Jack steadied the canoe as Rue climbed in and raised the paddle in a greeting towards Violet, flashing her a smile. Yes, you're very charming. Just remember to bring her back to us," Violet called. They skirted the islands, which seemed like old friends now. Rue knew the secret coves and the places where the deer swam from one island to another. She knew where a toppled pine served as a diving board for the ducks, and where the crows had hidden their nest in the bluffs. Yet just when she thought she knew the St. Lawrence, the river showed her something new and mystifying, just like Jack. Sometimes, when they were in the garden, she would look at him and wonder, when the trees grow tall, years and years from now, will we still know each other? Or will you just drift away one day, like the ice floes during spring melt? Hey. Jack stretched his legs out and captured her ankle between his bare feet and held it there. "What are you thinking about?" I'm thinking that I might learn how to swim." Jack's face brightened. "Really?" Rue nodded. "I'll teach you," Jack said. "You'll see. By the end of the summer, you'll be swimming like a dolphin." Sir swooped down over them, then rose again and headed off toward Eel Bay to find some lunch. "I think we'll go with him now. The day is so clear, we'll have a fine view of the islands below. Green puzzle pieces flung across the water, waiting for someone to fit them back together again. If we follow Sir, we'll pass directly over Cough Rock. Look down. There is the great stone house, so formidable even from above. You can see the garden's glass dome in its center, cradled like a secret jewel. A huge flock of cormorants has gathered beneath the island's stone arch, stretching out their sleek black wings in the sun. It's a strange sight. Cormorants have never collected on Cough Rock before, and Sir circles back to get a better look. All at once the cormorants take flight. Their bodies rise in a single black mass that billows out and twists, undulating like a woman's long black mane of hair whipping in the wind.